Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
This is Alison Kentos. I am an early childhood educator.
And this is Cindy Tarabush. I am an early childhood consultant.
This podcast is for parents and early childhood professionals.
Let our experience and research-based knowledge become your guide. Happy Monday, preschool peeps.
Happy Monday.
During our last episode, Alison and I think that we mentioned transitions. She jotted it down. We're pretty sure.
Wrote it down.
Right? She thinks we mentioned transitions and that fact that we should do an episode about that. So here we are. And
here
we looked
are.
back, right? We looked back and went, yeah, I don't think that we've ever really just devoted an episode to transitions and how hard they are. So we're going to take the opportunity to write about that we mentioned it. And even if not, so what? We're going to talk about transitions.
Yep.
Transitions are one of the hardest parts of an early learner's day. And it's one of the hardest things in an early childhood classroom because it's during transitions from one activity to another, one place to another, one portion of the day to another that we see a lot of children's challenging behaviors come out because they find transitions to be so challenging.
Yeah. It's I think it's like an unpredictable, thing for a child. Like we know where we're going next, but they don't know what that means. So they get a little out of sorts.
Yeah, I mean, transitions are hard for everybody. When I talk about transitions now, I ask everyone to recall how it felt in March when suddenly your life was transitioned. And it hasn't stopped, by the way. We are still mid-transition. So, and that's why we all feel a little ill at ease and why we're struggling right now, because we're mid-transition. We can't go back to what was before, but we haven't reached what's going to happen.
Right. And I feel like even within this bigger transition are like these little mini transitions that we're going through. And, with like school being different, or maybe the plan has changed, or you have to quarantine for a little bit. Like there's just all this transitions within the transition, and I feel like that's kind of what's happening at school. Like the kids are transitioning to go into school, and then all these little things are happening along the way, and it's just costing.
Yeah, it's very similar to what children go through.
Yeah.
It's very similar. And the thing about transitions, as Alison said, is that to the person who has to go through a transition without choosing it themselves, it feels very unpredictable. The children feel like they have no control over what's happening, and every human being wants control. They don't understand our motives. As Alison said, we know why we're making you stop playing with that or stop doing that, but they don't fully understand why it has to change. They were happy with what they were doing. Why can't we just leave them alone is basically what they're thinking. So transitions are hard, really, honestly, mostly because adults don't always facilitate them well, and because we leave the unknown as an unknown, and we just want them to come and do. I think that's true at home and at school. And there are tools we can put in place and ways that we talk to children that could help them to more smoothly go through some of the typical transitions in your routine.
Yeah, because I mean, it's kind of like they're in the middle of doing whatever it is they're doing. Like they're playing blocks and they're really, really into it. And all of a sudden you'd be like, okay, bye, we're going to phys ed or wherever we're going. And you're like, I don't care. I want to play blocks. It'd be like if you're at home and you're doing something really awesome at home and all of a sudden somebody's like, hey, we got to go. And you're like, yeah, no, I'm cool. I'm going to stay here. And imagine that, like, you have to remember how that feels when you are like, oh man, I got to go. And I don't, like me in the morning when I'm like just hanging out here reading my book. I'm like, oh wait, no, I have to go to work.
It's not like the children
myself into that,
It's not like the children are purposely trying to defy you when they're over there playing with their toys and you say, let's go, we're going to the store, and they give you a hard time. They're having a hard time with understanding why, what will happen, will I be able to play when I get back? There's a lot that they don't understand because they don't understand permanence yet. They don't understand the flow of time yet. They're not abstract thinkers. There's so many reasons why early learners have trouble with transition. So I think what we should do is discuss some hints that can be done both in a classroom and at home.
Yeah.
And really they do translate. And that way you can think about, how are you facilitating transitions? Very often in early childhood classroom settings, we're told, well, if you have a transition, just sing a song. But there's so much more to what you need to do to prepare children for what's coming.
And if you're the type of person that's not a song singer, that's not going to work, because I'm not really a song singer. Okay. And I never really was. I wasn't into that as a way to get
really
kids motivated.
because young kids would love they love my voice, they would love your voice.
Oh, I'm sure they would. But then see, now instead of it being like a natural thing for me, I'm like, okay, now I also, not only do I need to transition the children, which is hard, I'm doing it in this unnatural way, which isn't, you know what I mean? I feel like you need to find what works for you.
Yeah, some people are good.
Not it, but songs work. I will say that a lot of times they work, because the kids, it's like a cue to their brain, you know. Like,
well, that's it. Children need cues.
Yeah, they need
children
the cues.
need cues.
Yeah.
So here's my advice about using songs. If you're going to use songs, then for a period of several months, you need a specific song for each type of transition, because it helps children to predict. Every time I hear this song, I know we're going to go to the playground. And every time I hear this song, I know that we're going to have snack. And every time I hear this song, I know that it's read aloud time. And so that you have a specific song that signals them. But even before you do that, there are things that you should do before you sing with them. And they include helping them to understand the passage of time and helping your day to be predictable. In classroom settings, we work hard to help teachers set up what are called schedule cards. It's a card for every segment of your day that you set up every morning, reflecting your actual day, not just a general plan that may go awry. It's every day, here's what we're doing in this order, and you have a card for every possibility. And so that children could go over to these cards that should be hung at a child's eye level and understand what's happening next, and after that, and after that, and after that. And so you need a card for every single possibility that could happen in the course of your day. And if your day gets knocked off by a fire drill or something, you should actually bring the class over and change the cards and show them, well, we have this fire drill, it changed what we're going to do. Let me show you how the day is going to flow. Believe it or not, it's a little controversial whether you should be using clip art or pictures of the actual children in the classroom. The controversies that happen in early childhood are a thing. So this is a little bit of a controversy, and there are differing opinions. I can give you my professional opinion as someone who goes from school to school and deals with all sorts of populations. And that's that you need to use pictures of the children who are actually in your class. They love at this age pictures of themselves and their classmates. They will be far more attracted to it than clip art. I don't think that clip art is valuable until the children are like in first, second, third grade, maybe. I think it should be pictures of themselves, right? So
and you put them up. For me, when I would do this, if you had like an art class or a Ed class or a music class, I would go to that teacher and be like, I'm going to take your picture, your actual picture, and I would put it on the board. Be like, okay, today we have art with Mrs. So-and-so, and there's her picture. You know, we have music with Mr. So-and-so, there's his picture. So they can start like seeing like, oh, when I go to music, I see his face, and that means, you know what I mean? It's like another, like, use the real folks that are in your school, the real kids, the real teachers, real stuff that they see. You know, like instead of clip art easels that you would put up for art class, like go take a picture of the actual art room, you know, go
or take a picture of the children doing art. I like pictures of the kids.
Yeah.
Take a picture of the kids doing art. And that translates to home, by the way. If you go online, you will find lots of at-home ideas for schedule cards that have like, we're going to brush our teeth, we're going to get dressed, we're going to go to the store, we're going to have lunch, we're going to watch TV, we're going to go to the park, we're going to have dinner, we're going to have a bath, read a story, go to bed. So it's like the same, you would have pictures. Again, ideally in early childhood, take pictures of your own child going through those routines, because then they will be more attracted to it. In classrooms, one of the responsibilities, one of the jobs should be the schedule keeper, and that person goes over and takes down the card as you finish that part of your day, or moves a symbol over.
Moves the star down. Yeah.
If anybody's listening I actually have samples of really well done pictures of really well done schedule cards from classrooms. You're welcome to contact me, and I would be happy to just email you some information and a picture about the use of schedule cards. You can reach me through the contact form on our website, our outdated website that I still have to update, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com. You can reach me by messaging on Facebook through our podcast page, How Preschool Teachers Do It podcast, or you can email me. My email is Cindy, CINDY, at helpingkidsachieve.com. And just say to me, I listened to the podcast and I'd love a picture of the schedule cards you're talking about. And I'll send you a really nice sample, because I think it's very important that you have those cards. And again, at home and at school, that will help children. But it's not just about the visuals. It's also about what we say to them. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, again, back to March. How nice would it have been if someone came up to you and said, Alison, there's going to be this change. And you're going to need to stop teaching the way you are right now in about, 2 days. So get yourself prepared, get yourself in a good mental space, because you're going to be online. It would have been really nice if somebody came up to me and said, so Cindy, all that consulting you do in person is going to be done differently in about 5 days. So we're going to give you 5 days to think about this and settle your mind on it. Now, we can't give children 5 days. We can't give them, but we certainly can go up and give them personal invitations like that. And I encourage teachers to do that all the time. If the children are over in the corner playing with the blocks, give them a personal warning, go over to them, because we're supposed to be having meaningful interactions with small groups and individual children, and say to them, hi, you can put 3 more blocks on your tower. And then we have to start cleaning up the blocks. Go over to the children who are drawing and say to them, you can finish that drawing, but please don't start another one. When you finish that drawing, we need to put the crayons away. Let them finish in some way what they're doing, have that sort of mental moment to prepare for the putting things away. Go over to the kids who are sitting there using lacing cards and saying, you can finish lacing that one card, and then please put it back in the box because we're getting ready to go to the playground. It's so much better when you walk around the room and give individual warnings, kind of like at home. We should be going up to children and saying, you can finish this TV show or this video, and then we're going to put our coats on and go to the supermarket, rather than waiting for the end of the video and going, okay, turn the TV off, we're leaving.
Okay, time to go. Yeah. And I also like the way Cindy was saying it, is because it's more, instead of like being like, okay, in 2 minutes we're going to go inside, because kids don't understand 2 minutes, they don't understand time. This gives it something that, like, okay, I can manage that. She said I could do 1 more lacing card, then I'm done. She said I could finish my project or whatever, my coloring, then I'm done. It puts it in like time that they understand, which is what they're doing. I could do 3 more blocks. I know how to do 3 blocks. Okay, and then I'm going to put it away. Instead of being like, okay, 5-minute warning, because that doesn't mean anything. To them, 5 minutes could seem like an hour or 2 seconds. Like, they don't know. And so give it to them in terms that they understand, which would be in what they're doing and what's meaningful to them, which is their activities, or they're like, you can finish watching this TV show. Okay, the TV show's over. There's an ending point to that. Putting 3 blocks on, there's an ending point to that. I did the 3 blocks. Okay, now I'm done. Something that they can manage on their own a little bit.
Yeah, it's how they measure time. I remember when my boys were little, if we were going somewhere, I would say to them, like 1 more SpongeBob and then we're leaving. Or I would say to them, 2 more sleeps and then we're going to be going on vacation or something like that when they were really little. I'm not sure why we don't always do that. And I'm not sure why we kind of drop it when they get to a certain age. I know I like warning in my life.
I love warning. Like, if somebody could warn me about anything that's going to, like, if somebody warned me about COVID and said, hey, Alison, by the way, next week, this is what we need you to prepare to do. That would have been awesome. Instead, what I got was, and it's by no fault of anybody, this wishy-washy, like, we're not really sure, we might close, I'm not really sure, oh, okay, we're gonna have this meeting because we're gonna plan so that you can get prepared, and then boom, all of a sudden we were closed. And then they were like,
how
oh,
it
but
was for everybody.
it's only for 2 weeks, and then it wasn't. So, but you imagine, like, oh my God, as an adult, how we felt when that happened, and we could kind of manage for the most part. I still have like trauma from that. Okay. And it was like a long time ago. Like and so like, imagine how these kids are feeling like when you're just like, okay, we're leaving, bye. Like no warning, no way to prepare their mind. Like we as adults need to prepare our minds for things. They do too, but in terms that they understand and time that they understand it.
But we really have to do what we say. You know, if you look at a child at home and you say, and if you say to them, you know, when you finish your show, I don't know, say goodbye to grandma because we're leaving when the show is over. You actually have to leave when the show is over. Otherwise, they don't trust your measure of time. So you have to be prepared to do what you're saying. If you're saying you can put 3 more blocks on and then we're going to be cleaning up and going to the playground, you actually have to make that happen. You know that child's going to reach for the 4th and 5th block. You know that that's going to happen. Yeah. And you just have to know that's going to happen and be able to turn to them with a smile on your face and say, remember, we were cleaning up the blocks after those 3 blocks. So let's start to put them away. They're going to need those sorts of reminders. And by the way, don't just tell them put the blocks away. My advice is go over there and say, here, I'm going to help you put the blocks away because we said 3 more blocks, remember? So let me help you get started. I think there's so many ways that we can make transitions better and easier. And I think that children have trouble with sort of the big transition commands. You know what I mean? When we say to them, well, you know, let's clean up and put our coats on and blah, 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 blah. Like it's too much. Just tell them what they can finish, then what exactly what you need to do them to do. You can put 2 more blocks on, and then you need to put the rest of the blocks back on the shelf. Yeah. That's exactly what I need you to do.
Yeah. And I feel like for kids that are young, they don't understand like 2, 3, 4 step directions. So if you're saying, okay, we're going to clean up and then we're going to put our coats on and then we're going to go outside, that's too many steps. We're going to clean up, you know, and then refer to the chart. We're going to clean up because look, next is this, you know, and give them the warning, 3 blocks, and then say, okay, let's work as a team. We're going to clean it up. Now let's go get our coats on. You know what I mean? Like instead of giving them the whole thing all at once, they're like,
it's a lot.
Too much. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then they're like, can't remember the steps or the order. And now you gave them something else to worry about rather than just this transition. They're like, I don't remember what she said. You know what I mean? There's too many words. I feel like we use a lot of words sometimes. Like
we do. Words. We overtalk everything. We overtalk. Says 2 podcast co-hosts.
Who love to talk.
We do. We're overtalkers. I think that, another thing, I read an article that I thought was super interesting, and it was talking about transitions. And one of the things that adults don't realize, but I could relate to it as an adult, is that a child is thinking that if they're having fun doing what they are doing right now, that the next part of the day is not going to be as much fun. That's what they're thinking. It's not, I'm having fun now, and the thing that I'm going to have to do isn't going to be as awesome as this right now. Because the only thing children can relate to is this right now.
Right.
So we need to make sure they understand that the next part of the day is going to also be fun and enticing. So when we say to them, you know, you can finish your drawing and then please put the crayons back in the box because we're going to be going to be reading a book, and the book is really cool. It has pictures of dogs and cats and, you know, like say something really cool that's going to happen next. You know, because if you just say to kids, because we're going to be reading a book, children who don't love sitting and listening to a book are going to be like, oh no, I don't want to, I want to stay here. And they resist the transition. You know, when we say to kids who are on the playground, it's time to go in, inevitably some of the kids are like, no way, and run in the other direction. We have to make what's coming up next really exciting and say to them, come on, we're going to go inside and I have the coolest toys for us to play with. Don't you want to come see? Yeah. Make it really exciting like that so that they know the next thing that's going to happen can be as fun as what they're doing.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll put it as like a question, like if we're going to read a book and I'll be like, oh, we're going to read this book about a lion. I wonder what's going to happen. And now they're like, wait, what? She doesn't know what's going to happen. Like, I want to find out now. It's like, you can't resist it. Like, even adults, they can't resist that kind of stuff, So like, sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. You're going to have to come read the book to find out, and they're like, oh, okay.
Well, isn't that how movie trailers are put together when you go to like see, and you're sitting through 45 minutes of previews in the movie theater? And aren't they really about, here's a little taste. Now you're going to have to come back and see what's going to happen. Yeah. I think that's kind of like the mentality of it. And we have to do the same thing for children, at home too. If you need to take them grocery shopping with you and that's super boring to them and that it is, but you have to take them, if you say to them, okay, we're going to, after this TV show, I'm going to take you to the grocery store. And when we get there, and got to come up with something exciting for them. It doesn't have to be something you're going to buy them. When we get there, I'm going to let you ride in the back of the cart, or I'm going to let you, I'm going to let you pick things off the shelf with me and put it in the cart. I'm going to let you put things on the belt when we check out, whatever might appeal to your child. I think that we have to remember that we need to give them something to look forward to. We all need something to look forward to. So to sum up, Allison, we need visual cues for them about the flow of their day and their time. We need spoken cues that give them a warning as to how much time they have left in real actions. And then they understand when it's time to start shifting. We need to make the next part of the day exciting. And we talk about it. And that was it, right? Are we good?
Yeah. I think that's good. Yeah.
All right. So what we need to do is thank people right now who are sending in those 100th episode questions.
Yes,
we're so
we got
psyched.
a couple questions.
Oh my gosh, we got quite a few. And it's so exciting. Like, they're really great questions. I can't wait to record that episode. I anticipate it'll be a little bit of a longer episode than our usual.
Yeah. That's good though, because we like
keep also people on YouTube are like, why does she keep putting her finger by her face? I have very curly hair that people on YouTube can see that I've allowed to go curly. And sometimes when you have very curly haired people will relate to this. One curl just heads right for your mouth and your nose.
And then once it's in that position, it just stay there until you like twist it out.
That being said, I'm really enjoying letting my hair be curly. So
she's joined the curly club.
And this is my natural hair.
I love my curls.
I've grown to love my curls in my old age. But back to closing out this podcast. What else? Sorry, folks, we digress. So what else
They're used to us by now. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. People actually have written to us and told us that they really like when we're they can see that we're friends and we're just kind of laughing with each other, because we really are friends.
Because we are friends,
So, Allison, what else do we want them to do? That's your whole shtick there.
That's my thing. Oh, I'm too close. 5 stars, guys. Rate us 5 stars because we are pretty awesome. Visit us on our website, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com. You can contact us there, or see us on Facebook, How Preschool Teachers Do It podcast. And is that it? That's it. That's my thing.
I think that's pretty much it, other than I feel really guilty about not updating that website, and I'm going to get on it. I will. I
guess we really should, right?
Okay, we'll work on that.
And we're real people with real lives, so it's okay.
Right.
We're gonna give yourself some grace.
We are. Give us some grace, because we're going to leave you with those 4 words.
Yes.
And those 4 words of the year. The words of the year are, this year is sponsored by understanding and patience, forgiveness and grace.
Yes. Forgive yourself too. I give myself a lot of grace lately, and it's okay. It's okay.
We will catch you next time on the podcast. Enjoy our closing music and the short commercials that come after that. We hope while you are driving and listening, or whatever it is you are doing through your podcast app. People on YouTube, I think, don't get the same thing, but hey, that's okay.
Oh yeah, they don't, do they? Yeah, that's okay. They get our beautiful faces.
They do. They get the whole episode. All right. Catch you next time on the podcast.
Bye.